This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
I feel like leaning back on the couch today.
Where are you? At home or you're on the road somewhere?
No, I'm still in the combine, bro.
Oh, so the combine. That's right. Up in Indianapolis. Yeah. Okay.
I get back tomorrow night to South Florida. I've been here all week.
Okay.
Yeah, following all this craziness, and I don't really give a shit about 40 times, bro. It's just about tracking down NFL people and talking to agents and
relationships. Maintaining relationships.
That's all it is, bro. Nothing else, nothing more. But I don't, because did you see this 40 time? No, dude, I don't really give a shit. It doesn't really do anything.
The guy's good at track. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's fantastic. That's not going to do anything for me. Good job by Mario Cristobal getting Jason Taylor locked in. I thought, when FSU stole Pat Surtain, from the Dolphins, I thought that was a great job by Norvell because sure, he's a terrific coach, but also a recruiter that's established in South Florida and can help you out. And for me, I think that was the other thing that I loved about Jason Taylor. He was a guy that's been coaching at the high school level also. And, he can help you out in the recruiting area also, not just as a coach.
Yeah.
I think that is super important for a guy like Mario Cristobal.
Yeah, you need other examples of guys who players want to come play for. It can't just be the head coach that they have a bond with. They've got to feel something for the assistant coaches and the position coaches. And I'm actually up in Bradenton. I was at IMG Academy last night for their combine. Under Armour comes down and does their own private combine just for IMG because they've got so many stud kids every year.
And if you subscribe to The Athletic, you would find out what he learned also from the
That's correct. I appreciate the plug on that. What I was going to say is, the one thing I ask all of these recruits is who do you vibe with, right? Like that's the word that the kids use nowadays. But so I use their language. But I ask them, who do you vibe with? Which coaches do you honestly feel the bond with? Because as long as I've been doing this, I really feel like, okay, yes, they care about the program, how it's doing. Yes, they care about NIL and money. But it really comes down to the relationship that they have with their position coach. And unless they feel something with that dude, they're probably not going to pick your program. And so I think Jason Taylor has been somewhat removed from that in 1 year at Miami because he was an analyst. He wasn't allowed to really recruit. He was only allowed to talk to the kids who were there when they approached him. But I think now this allows him to be a much bigger force for Mario Cristobal on the recruiting trail. And the one thing I want to know, and I haven't been able to confirm yet, is whether or not he really got an offer from the Miami Dolphins to join their staff or not. I think my understanding is Miami paid him well to stay with the Hurricanes and to be a position coach on the staff. We don't know yet if he's simply going to be defensive ends or defensive line coach in general. It depends on whether or not Joe Salavea goes to the NFL. He interviewed with the Detroit Lions. I think I mentioned that to you on Tuesday. I know the Lions hired somebody else, but I think Salavea, NFL guy, played in the league. He could potentially be on an NFL staff. So I think while it seems like the staff is complete at Miami, I wouldn't say it's finalized. And I've tried to express that to the fans over and over again. It's a very fluid situation. Guys are still taking NFL jobs. There's still movement in the coaching carousel, and we'll see if Jason Taylor is just defensive ends coach or in the end defensive line coach for Miami.
Yeah. Do they need a tight end? Is that next?
Well, Stephen Field is he's still on the staff as the tight ends coach.
No. I'm talking about Jason's kid.
Oh, Mason Taylor. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they're gonna let him out of LSU, brother. Like, they know what they've got with that kid.
Bro. I ask you for Heartline, you say no. I ask you for Aronde Gadsden, you say no. I'm asking you for Taylor now. What the hell, bro? You're not providing me any relief here.
Hey, listen, man. I'm sorry. When you go 5-7. It's part of the penalty, I guess. I don't know.
I'm like a Dolphins fan. Everybody that becomes available, I want to trade or sign. So
Yes.
I'm just becoming that Canes fan. Everybody that's available has to be able to want to come here and be with us, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you this. David Stone, who was a 5-star defensive lineman in this 2024 cycle, big time defensive kid. Gabby Urrutia from Inside the U asked him yesterday, have you ever had a conversation with Jason Taylor at Miami? And I think the kid had no idea who Jason Taylor was. So I think I'm trying to put things in perspective for people. Yes, eventually David Stone will find out that Jason Taylor is in the NFL and a Hall of Famer. But let's not forget, today's kids are very removed
Yes.
from our history, and they don't know it unless you kind of flash it in their face and express it to them. So I think, Mason Taylor, while it'd be awesome if he came here, and he's a tremendous budding star in college football, I think he's pretty set at LSU, man.
I mean, you can't blame me for trying, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's good. Kevin Beard now, right? That's
Receivers
also,
coach.
Yeah, the other one that's and I see in your article, it's like, all right, you just signed right now. Go get that kid. I forgot which one that you wrote.
Jeremiah Smith, yeah,
Yes.
the cousin of Geno Smith, the receiver from Hollywood Chaminade, right away, right to work. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's all about relationships, man, and so Kevin Beard, I think, from what I know of him over the years, and remembering him as a high school player at Plantation High School when I was doing high schools for the Miami Herald many years ago, just a hungry individual in general. Beard he's going to work hard on the trail. He's exactly what Mario wants in terms of a grinder, a guy who's going to care about relationships and do everything he can to establish relationships. And I had a text message exchange with Jeremiah, and he says, "Man, a special dude. He really likes Kevin Beard." So I think they're on the right track there. But I will say this though. Miami's got to win this year, brother. They got to look better than they did. There's got to be a level of improvement on the field, man, for these kids to buy in, because it all goes hand in hand. Great relationships with the assistant coaches. Okay, show me what you can do for me. Show me who you put in the league. Show me what you're doing at the receiver position. And right now, Brian Hartline has got everybody in college football beat, man, with the guys he's putting out every single year. You look at the defensive line position in college football, where Jason Taylor's trying to make a dent. All the best defensive linemen come out of Alabama and Georgia every single year. So it's an uphill battle for Mario. And that's why I try to tell people, man, like, it would be great if he could flip the switch and this team wins 10, 11 games this year, and they just have a ridiculous improvement the way TCU did last year. But that's not the way it works. It takes time to build depth. It takes time to recruit and win recruits over. He did it in year one because he was a new guy, and you can get a bunch of guys on board to say, hey, you're going to be part of the change, right? You're going to come in and play right away, Francis Mauigo. You're going to come in and play right away, Pancake Honcho. Well, guess what? Year two, the same recruits that you went to that you were like, I need your help. Well, now they want to see results. And so this is the most important phase for Mario Cristobal, is year two, showing that you can actually make improvement on the field.
Yeah, no doubt. Those defensive linemen out of Georgia, they're really racing out into the draft.
Always got to throw in a Jalen Carter joke there. I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, gotta do that. And listen, there's no doubt he's got to win this year. I mean, what happened last year is unacceptable. I'm sure he's probably still embarrassed about what happened last year. Internally, there's a lot of pressure for Mario because perception is kind of half the battle. Mm-hmm. And if you're spending all this money and you're having all this turnover in talent and in coaching and the program and the structure and all that stuff, there's a lot of money being spent. He has to show results.
Yeah, I think when I step back and look at this as a journalist like you for going on 3 decades now, I look at this as, well, what are the benchmark dates? Well, no, a big benchmark date is when this new not indoor, but football facility, this $300 million football facility they want to build in the next 3 to 4 years. I would say if Mario doesn't have this thing turned around by then, that'll be year 5, probably year 6. Then I could see them sort of pulling the plug, because then they'll say, hey, this guy's just not getting the job done. But I think we will see results from Mario Cristobal in Miami, because
I
He's
agree.
just recruiting better. He's just recruiting better players, bigger, faster, more physical. I think he's a better talent evaluator as a whole than some of the guys that they've had here. And I think a big problem at Miami is just culture and mentality. And I think that's going to change with Mario. I think he naturally is going to bring in a different mindset from the head coach position, and I think that's going to carry over into the players.
Yeah, and Eric, I think, is kind of out of place on our chat board. He says, "How can someone be a fan of the sport and not know its history and players that came before, especially Hall of Famers like Jason Taylor? We aren't talking about players 50 years ago." Eric, you have no idea how many pro players have no concept of the history of their sport, and I'm talking football, basketball, baseball. It's really, they get to the pros and they know nothing. So those high school and college kids even know less. They might know a couple of guys in their time, their generation at that moment. But 10 years before, 20 years, forget about it, dude. You know it, Manny. You've been able to cover different sports like I have. Players aren't really historians
No,
on average.
No, I think the one thing that we forget about is all of us, we grew up in an era of the radio and newspaper, right? Oh, I mean, a lot of the people
And
that
the
are your
baseball
listeners
and the baseball card, the
and the
football card.
baseball cards, right? We went to the ice cream truck with our 50 cents and we said, "Hey, give me a pack of football cards, give me a pack of baseball cards," and we would memorize the stats on the back and we would trade them and this was our life before Sports Center and all these football shows and basketball. So
Dude, in my neighborhood, we would buy the little baseball helmets and the little football helmets. Okay, didn't exist for the other sports, but the other two were always in those quarter machines, and then we would test each other.
Yeah,
and then we would say, okay, here's the Redskins. Boom, quarterback, wide receivers, and running backs, and you had to name them.
Yep.
And it was like that for the whole league. It didn't matter if it was the Seattle Seahawks or whatever. Baseball cards, we memorized the freaking stats behind, baseball cards. Kids they don't even come close to doing anything like that nowadays.
The passion nowadays for sports, the way that we grew up around it, it was a different time. Oh, and not to get too in depth with all of this, but I think a lot of it is divorce rates in today's world, right? No father figures for a lot of these kids in their lives, financial struggles. First of all, I mean, I haven't bought a pack of baseball cards in a long time, but like I see them maybe at Walmart or Target on the shelf. Like you don't really see them. Like you don't have the ice cream man coming around with baseball cards to sell anymore.
And they weren't wheeling and dealing like we were.
Yeah, there were shows that they were selling it. There was a
playing, and they're not playing pick a side or whatever.
Right.
And, you know what I mean? They're not doing any of that kind of stuff that we used to do. Mariwiti! They don't do any of that. I don't know how many of you even know what the hell that is, but that's I think in English they used to call it 52 card pickup or something. That they throw it up in the air. So Mariwiti was you'd grab somebody's pack of cards and you'd throw it up in the air, and then it was a free for all.
Yeah.
So everybody was picking up cards, and you're like pissed. So Mariwiti was a part of it. Yes.
It's a different era, and a lot of these kids only know about their most recent contemporaries. Like I talked with this kid named Gavin Nix, who's a sophomore. He's going to be a junior. He's already 6 foot, 224 pounds. He's going to be a stud linebacker in the class of 2025, and he's going to be a beast. And I said, so who do you study? And he says, oh, Nakobe Dean. Like a kid at Georgia who's just coming out, right? Like those are their heroes. It's the guys that are on YouTube in the last 3 years. It's not Jason Taylor. It's not Ed Reed. I will tell you this: like a lot of them, I think most sports fans just don't get it. They don't grow up the same way, man. It's a different era, different world.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. Well, by the way, I know you don't want to give everything away because obviously that's why you subscribe to The Athletic. But give me a little nugget from the IG Academy.
Yeah, I mean, I think Miami was hoping to get some of these kids down for Junior Day tomorrow. But a lot of them are kind of skipping town, and I know guys like Gabby and David Lake and all the guys who cover recruiting for the recruiting websites. Their job is to write about every one of these kids' bowel movements, but I try to cut through the BS. When I talk to them and just find out who do they really have a bond with, who do they really like, and there's some elite kids that Miami's after that I just don't think the interest is there mutually. I didn't get a lot of excitement feedback about the Hurricanes yesterday from talking to guys at IMG Academy. The ones I would say, Jure Hawkins, who's I think he's a top 200 wide receiver at IMG Academy. I think he recently got offered by Miami. I think the 3 state schools have a chance at him. He's a track kid, super fast out of the West Virginia area. There's some 2025 kids at IMG Academy that I think Miami is in pursuit of, that they probably have a good shot at. But the David Stones of the world that I mentioned, the 6'3", the 6'4", 283-pound defensive tackle who's a 5-star, a lot of the other guys, I just don't think Miami is high up on the pecking order. I will say though, Francis Mauigoa, who's at Miami, he played at IMG Academy. He's kind of viewed as the alpha dog at IMG, and I think a lot of guys respect them, so they'll consider Miami. They'll come down and visit. But I think if the Hurricanes don't have a very good season this year, I don't see them pulling a 2024 kid out of IMG.
Perception is everything.
Yep.
Somebody keeps asking here to ask you about Wadden Charles.
Yeah, I know the name. I just haven't seen the kid play. I think he's a big receiver. He's like 6'3" something or other. He's about 6'3", 180.
He says Palm Beach, I guess.
Palm Beach area kid. He may be at Miami tomorrow. I know, again, there's going to be a lot of kids down there at camp. I'll say this, from talking to Miami's recruiting people, I kind of have a good idea who's high up on the recruiting board. And I don't know. I know from my previous conversations, he wasn't somebody mentioned on there as far as the Hurricanes are concerned. But that doesn't mean he's not a good player or somebody on the rise that could potentially get there. I think, look, when you look at the receiver position for Miami, there are 2 priorities, and I've said these 2 names to you over and over again. Jeremiah Smith, JoJo Trader. Those 2 kids, I think, are elite. I would say Chance Robinson, Terrence Moore. Terrence Moore's up here in the Tampa area, close to where I'm at now. I think those guys are high up on the board and probably attainable for Miami. So I don't know where this Wadden kid fits, but if they strike out, if they don't have a good year, maybe he's somebody they defer to down the road.
All right, what do you got going on in the athletics so folks can check you out, my friends?
Yeah, look, I had a story recapping a lot of the content of my interviews yesterday. I spoke to 8 of the 9 top 200 ranked players in the 2024 class. So if you want to read about all the IMG kids, I kind of cut through the BS. I'm not going to feed you the BS of, hey, Miami's in it for this kid or Miami's in it for that kid when they're not. So if you want some real answers, go there for that. And I did a feature story with a kid who Miami is actually in on that I think they have a chance to get. His name's Colton Heinrich. He's from Cardinal Gibbons High School. He's a 6'4", 230-pound tight end. Interesting story. His mother, his older brother, who's a baseball player, and his father were all at Stoneman Douglas the day of the shooting 5 years ago. And, his mom and his older brother were in the building adjacent to where the shooting happened. And the father was actually watering the lawn on the baseball field when the shooting broke out. His dad ran over, helped one of the injured kids get into an ambulance, and then picked up a gun and helped the cops and the whole thing. And he was off duty at the time. His dad was is a sergeant with the Coral Springs Police. Mom was a coach for 25 years. She started Nova Southeastern's basketball program, and hasn't coached a game since. That was, they were supposed to play in the regional playoffs on February 15th, 2018. They forfeited the rest of their season, obviously, in light of everything that happened. And she hasn't been a coach since. And now they have this young son who's this up-and-coming football star that Alabama and everybody in the country wants. And I was just thankful that they let me tell their story. And so if you want to read something that I think is more
great.
powerful, inspiring than maybe depressing. I know people don't want to necessarily always talk about the bad things that happen in our country. I know I have fatigue from it. It breaks your heart to constantly talk about it, but I think we do forget what happens to some of these people, right? We try to put it in the back of, oh man, I feel sorry for them. Well, life goes on for everybody, and one day she might get back into coaching. Her name's Marilyn Rule, his mother. But right now she just hasn't been able to go back to it, and she's got her sons who play sports. She's very proud of them. And she's got her son Colton now, who everybody in the country wants. Nick Saban. I mean, they're going to go on a college tour the next couple of weeks. SEC, ACC. They're going to be at Miami spring game on the 14th. Be a really interesting kid if he ends up at Miami playing for the Hurricanes.
Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. And better yet, please subscribe to The Athletic. He does exceptional work. That's an article right there you want to read. And go to The Athletic and subscribe like I and many others do. Manny, have a fantastic weekend, my friend. Appreciate you as always.
All right, brother. Take care, man. Enjoy Indy for me.
Yes, we will, my brother. Yes. It's nice, cold, and raining right now.
I'm going to go home in this 80-degree heat, man, that you miss, I'm sure.
Yeah, I do. All right, my brother. Be good.
See you, man.
Later. All right. Don't forget, you can order anything and everything with a Canes logo at caneswear.com. Go see Brad, Jeff, all the great people out there. If you don't work or live close to Davie, you can go online at caneswear.com. If you order over $99, you'll get free shipping. They've got Inter Miami gear, Miami Dolphins, Miami Marlins, Florida Panthers, Miami Heat. They got all kinds of stuff. And, of course, practically anything and everything with a Canes logo on it. Go to Caneswear, 2511 South University Drive in Davie, or go online at caneswear.com.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.